Hello, my name is Brianne Carwell, and I'm going to be doing my project today on Taylor Mill, Kentucky. To give you kind of an idea of where Taylor Mill would be on a map, it is in northern Kentucky. Coming from Cincinnati, it's about 15-20 minutes. And Taylor Mill, it's a very small community, mostly upper middle class individuals, and the community consists mostly of suburban homes and residential areas. There are a few businesses, such as your everyday, grocery stores, fast food restaurants, chain restaurants. There's very little on the side of big businesses or factories, so it is mostly an area where people live and then commute from there to work in big cities or other areas. For my assessment, I found that Taylor Mill had quite a few strengths and weaknesses. Some of the strengths were that there were no drinking water violations or air pollution violations. There were very few to little motor vehicle deaths that happened within Taylor Mill area, but I will say that that data is just looking at motor vehicle deaths that happened within the community. It doesn't look at individuals in the community that got in motor vehicle accidents or died in motor vehicle accidents outside of the community. And then lastly, Taylor Mill has a very low smoking rate. On the other side of things, some risk that Taylor Mill individuals encounter is very poor dental hygiene. Taylor Mill is in Kentucky, and Kentucky as a whole has very low dental hygiene, so this is kind of be expected. Taylor Mill also has a high incidence of obesity in preschool age and adult age individuals. And lastly, Taylor Mill has a high incidence of STIs in young adults and adolescents. This is actually higher than most of Kentucky, which is surprising because Kentucky is also one of the states in the U.S. that has the highest incidence of STIs in young adults. So they're pretty up there. For that reason, I chose STI as my community problem. I chose this because Taylor Mill has the highest rates of HIV, gonorrhea, and chlamydia infections within 20 to 29-year-olds, 20 to 24-year-olds, 15 to 24-year-olds, respectively. So that's a pretty staggering statistics. So the goal of my community assessment project was to decrease the total number of STI infections among adolescents and young adults. A little more detail into that. For my objectives, I would be hoping for at least 20% of young adults in the community to be screened for STIs, and 75% of adolescents will report using condoms during sex, and 15% of young adults will have access to condoms. These three things, hopefully, being screened, using condoms, and having access to condoms are really big in catching the disease and also preventing the disease spreading between individuals. For my interventions to obtain this, I would want to have and implement comprehensive sex education at Taylor Mill Middle School and High School, and then also have a condom availability program at the high school and the community center. To do this, I would need to partner with the federal and state government for grants. During my research, I did see that there are a lot of grants for free condom programs, so this is very doable. It'd just be about applying for them. And then for comprehensive sex education, I would have to work with the school nurse or sex education teacher to set up an education plan. And I would also have to meet with the school board to get both the condom program and comprehensive sex education approved. And then lastly, how I would evaluate the success for my program is using CDC statistics for STIs in the area, because STIs are reportable to the CDC. And then I would also want to do surveys for middle school and high school students that are getting the comprehensive sex education. I would want to do the survey pre and post to see how much they have learned from the educational program. And then I would also want to do a survey pre and post education and pre and post implementation of the condom program to see how many individuals are self-reporting using condoms during sex. So in summary, I learned a lot from this assessment. First off, that a lot of communities have a problem that you don't really think about day to day. And then also that when it comes to change, it's always nice to say, you know, oh, like, here's a problem, let's fix it. But a lot goes into change, and you need a lot of partners, and you need people, and of those partners, you need people willing to help. And then you also need the money to pay those people and pay for supplies and everything else. Great. Well, I think that covers everything for my project. Thank you for listening, and good night.